below. Yeah, everybody votes on the minutes. I think it was from last meeting, and everybody was here for that.
Just on life.
And then for the resolution, it's a
Waste a lot.
rule of necessity.
Right, we're just gonna have to go through them, that's all.
Everybody ready? Microphones on? We're going to call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting complies with the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice of this meeting was published on the municipal bulletin board and the applicable newspapers and sites.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Hyman.
Here.
Mr. Martins.
Here.
Ms. Rosal.
Here.
Ms. Tremor.
Here.
Ms. Cusano.
Here.
Mr. Seleckia.
Here.
Ms. Kavanaugh. Dr. Hofstein.
Here.
Ms. Bradley.
Here. Cipriani, I believe we have resolutions this evening.
Yes, there's one resolution, and it's a weird one. It's Resolution 2026-24, and it's granting use variance approval. It's a memorialization of a granting of use variance approval on property located at 32 Bennett's Mills Road, Block 12004, Lot 12.01. And the reason I'm saying it that way is a memorialization of a variance that was granted by the board in 2023. Ms. D'Agostino, and I think, Gina, you were part of the uncovering of the fact that, for reasons that no one here knows, that the memorializing resolution was not done in 2023. So obviously, no one on the board, I think, could vote, so it's going to be the rule of necessity to memorialize it. It's, making a record that, and it does not represent anything by the members of this board other than recognizing that in 2023, the board did grant this approval. My office was provided with a YouTube video and all of the paperwork, and the resolution does include all of the, oh, I'm sorry, Lynn, you were there. All of the conditions that were incorporated by the board at that time. I know it's an uncomfortable thing to vote on a resolution that you know nothing about, but it does indeed reflect what the board did in 2023. And I don't think anyone knows why the memorializing resolution was not done at that time.
I think so.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Mr. Peters.
You were there, right?
Was?
Okay.
Oh, and Mr. Peters.
For the
I'm sure-
record, I was the board's consulting planner then. I had an opportunity to review the draft resolution, my meeting notes from that night, and I take no exception to the comments and conditions that are in Ms. Cipriani's draft resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Peters.
So you're saying it's permissible, Jean, it's permissible for us to vote even though we didn't hear the application?
Correct. And the record is being made that, aside from Ms. Bradley, that none of the board members were here at that time, that it does not represent a decision of this board, simply a memorialization of the action that the then board members should take in 2023.
So given all that information, we need a motion and a second, please.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Just so I'm clear and everyone's eligible to vote.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Hyman.
Yes.
Mr. Martins.
Yes.
Ms. Rosal.
Yes.
Mr. Trimmer.
Yes.
Ms. Cusano.
Yes.
Dr. Hofstein.
Abstain.
Ms. Bradley.
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate everyone's action on that, and hopefully we don't have to do any more of those ever again because they're weird.
Okay. All right, we have some minutes in front of us to approve as well. I will start with the oldest. This was a set of minutes that was not done back in 2024. This is from April the 3rd of 2024. And I also have for our last meeting, Kathy's minutes. Again, we truly appreciate you getting yours done so quickly. And obviously the problem that we had in the past has been resolved. So we truly do appreciate you. So I need a motion and a second to approve the minutes from April 3rd of 2024 first.
Make a motion, we approve?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Hyman,
Yes.
Dr. Hofstein,
Yes.
Ms. Bradley.
Yes. And now I need a motion and a second to approve the minutes from our last meeting, which was August 5th of this year.
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hyman,
Yes.
Mr. Martins,
Yes.
Ms. Rosal,
Yes.
Mr. Trimmer,
Yes.
Ms. Cusano,
Yes.
Dr. Hofstein,
Yes.
Ms. Bradley.
Yes. I also have vouchers in front of me. One for tonight's meeting, 8/19/2026 for $175 for Kathleen, and also one in the amount of $100 for the minutes from the April 3rd, 2024 meeting. I need a motion and a second to pay the vouchers, please.
Motion to approve? Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Hyman,
Yes.
Mr. Martins,
Yes.
Ms. Rosal,
Yes.
Mr. Trimmer,
Yes.
Ms. Cusano,
Yes.
Dr. Hofstein,
Yes.
Ms. Bradley.
Yes. Do we have any announcements this evening, Ms. Cipriani?
We do not.
Okay, can we swear in our professionals, please?
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you'll give before this board will be the truth and nothing but the truth? Please state your name and position for the record.
Matt Wilder, Board Engineer.
Ernie Peters, Board Planner.
Gina Tumalo, zoning officer.
Okay. We
Brian
have,
Intindola, Traffic Engineer.
and welcome, Mr. Intindola, thank you. We have no executive session this evening, but I do believe that we have a matter for discussion.
Yes, one item. On the July 15th, we set dates for all applications except for one, and that was the Grand Harmony. Is there any reason why we don't have a date? We already heard most of the application.
I'm sorry, as you may recall, I have a conflict with that matter, so I have not been involved. I don't know why there is a date not set. Maybe Ms. Tumalo does.
Ms. Tumalo?
Can't offer much further clarity, Dr. Hofstein. However, it just states that the new meeting date is yet to be determined and will be noticed appropriately.
Notice is required, but no date has been set yet.
Well, I was wondering why there was no date. since
They may have not requested one. I know we had originally put everything on that July 15th reorg date, just because we had to then, at that time, vote in the rest of our dates for the rest of the calendar year. However, I don't have any further information that they had requested an actual date. since.
Maybe you can find out what's happening.
Yeah, I'm sure we could ask Dawn to reach out to them and see if there's been any update as to if they are ready to move forth with a date requested.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
No administrative approvals this evening, correct?
Correct.
We are going to move forward to applicant number 1, Rachel and Ignacio Cruz Jr., Block 9901, Lot 40.01, variance 3413-1. Hello.
Hello. If you're representing yourself, I'm going to swear you in now, and the reason for that is usually when you're representing yourself, it's sort of partially argument and partially testimony. So could you raise your right hand, please?
Make sure you use the mic.
Oh, yes. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give before this board will be the truth and nothing but the truth? And could you state your name and address for the record, please? You could put your hand down. That's not, yeah.
There you
Yep,
go.
156 West Pleasant Grove Road.
And why don't you tell us what it is you're trying to do?
There's been a dispute between my pool company and the engineer who did our plans. They're kind of just blaming each other. We're shy, I think it's maybe 16 inches from the property line where we're supposed to be. It's supposed to be 10 feet and we're 8.6.
So the pool was already installed?
Correct. We're
And
trying to close out our permit and we hit this roadblock.
Ms. Cruz, was this found during final engineering review? Is that why?
Yes.
That's where the discrepancy came
Yeah.
from? So all processes were followed, but when final engineering review, at time of final engineering review, excuse me, is when the discrepancy was discovered.
Oh, and just for the record, you obviously obtained your original permit and your zoning application and everything else, correct?
Yep, we did everything by the book correctly. This came up when we had the engineer do the as-built plan to close the survey, the permit.
Questions? All right. Mr. Peters, Mr. Wilder, comments?
Got to bang it on the table.
I did that last time, it did work. Can you, what's around the pool within that area that's, I guess, encroaching into the setback?
So we have a very unique property. As you can see, we have lots of easements and we have 8 acres, but a very small usable space of land. So we actually needed a variance to build the pool in the first place because there was just not enough room with the well and everything that we have. There is one property that comes in, it's on Goldfinch, and it comes into a very strong point. And I think that's where it's just grass. They have like 7 acres of land. They didn't even, we did speak to them about this. They weren't even aware that the end of their property went to this weird point into our property. So that's all it is. Like it's just grass.
Okay. Does this encroachment, you believe, impact them at all?
No, they were actually fine with how everything was. We've had many conversations with them, but yeah.
Okay. Madam Chair, that's all I have.
Any other questions?
I guess,
Martin?
yeah, just one. So your neighbor that you spoke to, then they don't happen to be here today, right, to testify
No,
basically what
no.
you
The
said?
letters went out and, they came to our backyard and looked at everything and everything was fine.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Other questions or comments for the applicant? Hello, any comments for the record?
As Ms. Cruz stated, they received a variance to begin with. It was, I guess, just an oversight. It is, like she said, a very uniquely shaped property. I think there are 2 issues. So my notes show that the original variance was given for a 10-foot setback per resolution 2022-38. And per the as-built, one section of the pool sits at 9.4, but the narrowest part comes to 8.6. I guess that's like a bump out, a stair or anything over there, Ms. Cruz?
Say that again.
At that 8.4 point, I'm sorry, 8.6 point,
Yeah.
is that like a stair entrance? That little side pocket of the pool?
There's like a little bump out on
Yeah.
the side, so that made it the 9.4.
Right,
and
so
then-
that would be the
right.
difference, the
Right.
differential in the distances. She had moved the fence. There were other corrections that she was required to do, which all were met as part of the resolution compliance. And this was just a discrepancy found, like we discussed at the as-built stage for final engineering review.
Any other questions from the board?
I do.
Mr. Trimmer?
Mr. Muller. Oh, good doing that. So who made the oversight?
I'm gonna go with the pool company. They actually built it.
It also was. like,
Could have been where
we-
things were marked out,
We
though.
had the engineer out a lot, and they had trouble finding monuments. If you could see on there, it says approximate location of a monument. They were out there, we've had them out many, many times. So I don't know. The engineer's blaming the pool company is blaming the engineer, and we just want to close the permit and move on with our lives.
That's what I'm wondering. It sounds like a little bit of everybody.
Yeah,
But it doesn't affect anything. It's a natural spring, I think is what they call that shape at a similar pool.
yeah.
So it's just that one,
It's
just
a-
a couple foot section.
Yeah.
The rest of the pool is within the
Right, and we
boundaries.
can't even, I mean, I know it's irrelevant, but we can't even see the neighbors. They're like way down the road on Goldfinch. So it's just woods. It's not like there's kids playing there or anything like that.
Yeah, so there's a large buffer there.
Well, there is a safety
Okay.
fence
And we
also.
have the fence.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. But to correct your statement, Mr. Tremor, no, that was the beginning of my statement earlier. So the whole pool at the closest point was supposed to be 10. So the top part or closest to the house I would call it a kidney shape personally. That sits at 9.4, and then that bump out is where we're at the 8.6.
Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Cruz, if you could just step to the side for me for a second, we have to open it to the public. Anyone wishing to come forward at this time and make any comments about what you've heard this evening, please do so at this time. Seeing no one come forward, we're going to go ahead and close public session. Board, it's up to us for discussion and a potential motion.
The chair?
Yes.
I think that this applicant has been here approximately 4 years ago. I wasn't here then, but I did read through the resolution, and as the applicant stated, the hardship with the wetlands and the topography of this property, the shape of it, I think that, they could have technically asked for, an 8-foot setback originally, and it's just a minor difference that falls within the same qualification of hardship, so I would be fine approving it.
We have a motion on the floor.
Second.
Sorry, I didn't make the motion, I was just
Oh,
saying
I'm
I wouldn't
sorry.
have an issue.
I'll make the
so
motion.
Sorry, Mr.
No problem.
Harmon.
No
I
problem,
make
I'll
a
second
motion
it.
that we,
I was just, for discussion purposes, that's all. So yes, so I'll second the motion.
So now we have a motion, the second. Roll call, please, Kathleen.
Mr. Hyman,
Yes.
Mr. Martins,
Yes.
Ms. Rosal,
Yes.
Mr. Tremor,
yes.
Ms. Cusano,
Yes.
Dr. Hofstein,
Yes.
Ms. Bradley.
Yes, your variance is granted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Enjoy your pool.
We are going to move on to applicant number 2, Garden View Homes LLC, use variance 3354, block 20901, lot 3.
It's gonna be a night.
Yes. No, please. No jurisdiction. Oh, okay, no, okay. Gotcha. No, that makes sense. No.
Well, you bring us fun stuff, we all gotta be here. You bring us fun stuff, so we have to be here.
Yep.
Just for the record, these are the same ones that are out there to the public? I'll wait. Yeah. This is just to be a nice courtesy copy, right? Okay. But you see, I moved the screen closer and everything.
Jennings?
Yes, good evening. For the record, I'm Donna Jennings from the law firm of Wilentz, Goldman, and Spitzer on behalf of the applicant. As the board is aware, the applicant is here this evening seeking a bifurcated application for block 20901, lot 3 on the township's tax map, seeking variances to permit the development of 82 townhomes and 16 apartment units. If approved, the applicant will prepare a site plan and submit a second application to the board for preliminary and final major site plan approval. With the proposed development, applicant is seeking to revive a stagnant property that has prior approvals but has lacked interest from developers. Approximately 45 to 50 years ago, a proposal to develop the property was approved for 148 condominium units for the over 50 community. An HOA was formed around the time the first units were constructed. In 1985, development had already stagnated, and this board agreed to lift the condition of the prior approval, which imposed the age restriction in an effort to promote the construction of the approved units. However, most of the units still were not built. Since approval, only 28 of the approved 148 condominium units were constructed in 7 structures and 4 units each. Pads for an additional 20 units were constructed. Over time, much of the property has become overgrown, and the roadways are in a state of semi-disrepair. The applicant is seeking to reinvigorate the property. It will improve the site landscaping and access, and additional units will be constructed to complete the build-out of the neighborhood. The existing homes will not be touched, and the completed development will have fewer units than were originally approved. Applicant will apply modern standards to the development, including ensuring ADA compliance and installation of make-ready electric vehicle spaces that were not among the development standards in place at the time of first approval. In support of the application, the applicant will offer the testimony of the following: Ian Borden, sitting to my left, the applicant's professional planner; Malky Rubb, the applicant's professional architect; and Scott Kennel, the applicant's traffic professional. The applicant is in receipt of the board engineer's review letter dated June 15th, 2026, and the board planner's review letter dated July 1st, 2026. And I don't know, Ian, did we receive any other review letters? And a traffic review. Okay, with that, we can have Mr. Borden sworn in.
Before we get started, Mr. Chairman and Gene, I'd just like to put on the record the $3.5 million municipal tax delinquencies that are owed by the current property owner. It's just something we should get out there so the residents understand and the board members understand why we're not including that. During the many years I served on the board, an application was not considered complete until all tax payments were up to date. The applicant disputes this requirement, saying the payments of outstanding taxes is not a checklist or submission requirement applicable to zoning only or variance applications under the Township Code. The request is that the tax payment may be imposed, if at all, as a condition for final approval, and alternatively request a waiver. If this application was before planning, it wouldn't be heard because they would have to have taxes paid to date. So I assume this may have been a loophole that Ms. Jennings found, and if you did.
No, it's not actually a
kudos to
loophole, it's
you.
actually the law, because if you think about it, you would be prohibiting somebody who doesn't have the ability to pay their property taxes from appearing before a board, which would be in violation of their due process rights. So it's actually, case law is on point that you do not have to pay your taxes before a board hears you. Most boards require it as a checklist, and most of the times the clients go ahead and do it. But my client is the contract purchaser, and one of the reasons we believe that this property has been stagnant for so long is that the current owner owes $3.5 million in property taxes that the town's not going to see unless somebody comes along and is able to develop the property. And so that's kind of why we're here, because obviously we're not going to go ahead and buy the property, pay $3.5 million, and then find out we can't build this project because we believe we need this density in order for be able to wipe the taxes clean and get the property redeveloped.
Okay, so if we grant this and it becomes a condition for final approval, which is what you state, who decides the amount? We don't, I assume. We're not a taxing agent.
No, there's your tax collector.
Yeah, the tax collector makes
So
that
it could be
determination.
$3.5 million and
Well, it's $3.5 million and it's running. As we all know, taxes continue
they
to
could
accrue.
decide to take less
It would-
if they wanted to.
So in terms of that settlement, and obviously that's outside the purview of this board, but in terms of resolution of taxes, there would have to probably be a tax appeal file. Some of these taxes go back so long that the time for appeal is certainly gone, whether there would be some kind of litigation where the township entered into a settlement, that's possible. But
We're not
there
involved. We're not-
are restrictions regarding tax litigation that are certainly outside the purview of this board.
And does the same thing hold for tax liens?
Well, once the tax liens are filed, then they would have to be, in order to transfer title, they have to be paid.
But, knowing the title business, no title company will give them title insurance. So do we know who owns the tax liens? Are they township, individual?
We don't know, and that's not part of what the board has been presented with to consider. Certainly the township would have that information, but that's not something that would come before the board.
Basically, and grant that wish and not include that. And are there any, are we involved with any legal disputes if we go ahead and hear the application?
No, in fact, we would be involved in a legal dispute if we did not hear the application. As mentioned, it is not a requirement in the checklist. We've talked about presenting the governing body with an updated ordinance and checklist. And, that, if that goes forward, then that's an issue in itself. But at this time, if the board were to say we will not hear it, we would have litigation on that aspect. And it is not supported by our ordinance or our checklist. So in all likelihood, it would be remanded back to the board to hear. Certainly, the board has every ability, should you decide to grant the variance application, to condition that. And certainly when the site plan comes on complete resolution compliance, requiring that taxes be brought up to date. But then again, those taxes are in the purview of a tax collector and the municipal arm rather than the board.
Thank you. I just wanted to get that out of the way.
No, those are very good questions. Thank you. If we could get Mr. Borden sworn in, we can begin.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you'll give before this board will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And certainly it's a pleasure of the chair if you would put your,
Thank you. Ian Borden, President, Professional Design Services, Lakewood, New Jersey. Planner, New Jersey for many years. Been doing the business for 40 years now since I came out of college.
Mr. Borden, nobody's
Sorry.
hearing is improved
I'm
since the
sorry.
last time you were here. Please speak into the microphone.
I'm sorry. I'm always too loud, so I go the opposite way.
Never that.
You're not here.
We're deaf, so
So
we
you've
need it.
you've been before this board a multitude of times. We accept your credentials. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Okay, and if you could, Mr. Borden, just walk us through the site, and then you're going to be testifying as a planner, because we are seeking a use variance. You'll also go through the proofs that were
Yes, I
required.
was going to do that after that.
Okay.
So I'm going to go over the project first, and then we'll have the architect and traffic engineer testify. and then
Just
I'll
remember to
return-
keep that microphone.
And then I'll return to do the planning testimony in support of the variance. So to start with, we have exhibits. We have 4 exhibits that I've provided the board. Exhibit A1 is the pre-marked. Exhibit A1 is on the screens. That is an aerial photograph of the property. The aerial is dated March of this year, 2026. The property is outlined in yellow. The property is, first to give you an idea of where the property is, it is located along South Hope Chapel Road. South Hope Chapel Road runs north and south on the eastern side of the property. West Veterans Highway is just off the map. On the top, you see the Wawa at the southeast corner of Veterans and South Hope, the Jackson Crossing Shopping Center and the McAuliffe School. At least that's, I don't know what it's called now, but McAuliffe School. And the property contains 17.6 acres. As noted in the opening statements, the property was approved in 1971 by the zoning board of this town, as well as again in 1976 to develop 148 multifamily condominium units. It was partially developed in the 70s with 28 units completed. You see those on the aerial. We have access roads, existing access roads, 2 of them coming from South Hope Chapel Road, and then a road in the back, and the buildings are located along those internal roadways. I would also note surrounding the property is, this was known at the time of Pleasant Garden South. To the north of us is Pleasant Gardens, also multifamily units that were built in the 70s. And then generally we have again, the commercial on the opposite side of South Hope. Commercial along our frontage in front of the property. These are office and contractor buildings. And then residential homes otherwise surrounding the property. We are proposing.
In the residential homes you're referring to, is that Swanbourne that hasn't been built yet?
That is correct, Dr. Hofstein. To the west of us is Whitlock. That area is been approved for a project called Swanbourne to build approximately 200 homes under the RG2 zone requirements. We'll get into that in a second. What we are proposing, if we go to A2, or actually let's do A2, is a furtherance of the conversation about what was. This is the approved partially developed condominium plan. That shows the 148 condominium units. Here you can see the access roads off of South Hope Chapel. These units here that I'm pointing to on the east side of the property is what was constructed. And the actual, Ms. Jennings made mention of the partially developed. The actual main loop road was partially developed and is still evident both on the aerial and on the ground. The units, of course, were never constructed. So then we move to Exhibit A3. Which I think I stapled them. Which is the variance plan that has been submitted to the board. And here you see the existing homes in the black line, uncolored, the access roads out to South Hope. Same orientation of the site with north to the top and South Hope Chapel to the right. And then here we have the proposed townhouse. Now we're here for variances, so we haven't obviously prepared complete site plans as part of this bifurcated application, but we have prepared plans, sufficient detail in our opinion to support the request for the variance. So we have basically mimicking the same loop road that was included in the original 1970s approvals, proposed townhouses, and then we have affordable housing units. What we're seeking is a variance to do a maximum density of 8 units per acre. This plan represents a density of 7.4 units per acre. The actual 1970s plan with the 148 condo units is a density of 8.4. So that was kind of where we started, and we dropped the felt number 8 was a appropriate number given the proofs that we have.
I'm sorry, Mr. Warren, I just want to make this clear for the record, just because we're talking about these old approvals. Everyone is clear and the applicant is not relying on those approvals, correct?
No, not at all.
And-
No,
and
it's
in
part of the
fact-
history of the site. I believe it's relevant to the planning, but we're certainly not.
I just wanted to make that
Absolutely. If
absolutely
I-
on record.
Yeah, absolutely.
What you're saying is the affordable units, 8 units per building is permitted now?
No, I haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, okay.
Can I ask one question?
Absolutely.
You keep on referring to the original part of the project as condos, but aren't they single-family, semi-attached, one-bedroom homes? Not condos?
I'm not sure honestly what the difference is. They're attached dwellings.
No, it's called a semi-attached home. It's not
Well-
a condominium.
I don't know what semi-attached is. They're homes that are attached, typically 4
Right.
units per building.
Right, but what's there is just single-family home and a single-family home with a firewall between, but it's not a condo. Or, I mean, I'm asking, that what they called a condo 50 years ago?
Condominium is a form of ownership. It's not a form of land use. I would call them townhouses because they're attached
Okay.
from a planning perspective. But they were described in the old approvals as condominiums. That's why I use that phrase.
I guess that's what
Condominium is a form of ownership.
That was their vision of it 50 years ago.
Exactly.
Okay.
Are these units individually owned?
Yes. Yes, each one of these 28 units, 7 buildings, is individually owned. Just to give some background on the site, continue on that, the property is not environmentally constrained at all. There are no wetlands on the property, no wetland buffers, no flood hazard areas, no flood hazard repairing buffers on the property. So there's no environmental constraints on the property.
Is this property in the Pinelands?
It is in the Pinelands.
And will you be getting LOI from the Pinelands?
Certificate of filing, yes. So the property is located within the Pinelands National Reserve. The Pinelands National Reserve the Pinelands Commission the National Reserve was created with the Pinelands Act in 1979, and encompassing this Jackson as any other municipality in the state that was included within the Pinelands National Reserve. They're required to have their ordinances certified by the Pinelands Commission. I know this board has heard that many times. But this property is located within the regional growth zone. There are 7 management districts in the Pinelands, ranging from preservation to regional growth, the regional growth being the portion of the Pinelands where growth is oriented towards. The property has been zoned since, and the first Jackson Township Master Plan was certified by the Pinelands in 1983. And they assigned this property in the regional growth zone, at that time having a density of 4.5 units per acre, and ever since then, the last 43 years, it's been in the RG2 zone. The RG2 zone, maybe just a little more background on the Pinelands. The purpose of the regional growth zones in these various management districts is to redirect growth from environmentally sensitive portions of the Pinelands to generally the outer fringes of the Pinelands where they wanted the growth to be clustered. And as a result of that, there's a program in the Pinelands, I'm sure the Commission or the Board remembers as well, called the Pineland Development Credits. So anybody that develops in the regional growth zone is required to purchase Pineland Development Credits. And that's a transfer of development rights program whereby the money for those credits does not go into any government agency. If it's a transfer of development rights from the environmentally sensitive portions of the Pinelands to the regional growth portion of the Pinelands. In other words, if I'm a landowner in the preservation district, I have the ability to obtain, at no cost to me, PDCs. And then I can sell them to somebody building in the regional growth. So it's a way to redirect the growth to protect the core of the Pinelands, the environmentally sensitive districts such as preservation, forest area, and rural development into regional growth zones. So this project, as any project in the RG2 zone, is required to buy PDCs. And currently the zone allows a maximum density of 3 units per acre under the RG2 zone. The zoning, as certified currently, allows single-family homes with under a conditional use criteria, the ordinance allowed single-family homes with a lot as small as 10,000 square feet with a 20% requirement for affordable housing, and that affordable housing is permitted on multifamily buildings with not more than 4 units per building.
So if you didn't get the variance, if you don't get the variance, how many units can be constructed?
We would be permitted, the permitted density is 3 units per acre, which doing the math is 17.6 acres is about 52 units. We're asking for 82 townhouses.
And you're including the already existing units in that?
Yes.
I do have a question about, you mentioned the 20% set aside for the affordable housing, but you're offering 16 affordable housing. And certainly I'm aware of that calculation, but I'm sure that you're also aware that in this round and the position that Fair Share Housing has taken, that it's the 20% of the total number of units, which what I think would put that number of affordable units at 20. For, if I'm reading this correctly, 82 right now plus 16 would be 98. So, is the application acknowledging of a 20% set aside?
Yes.
Not set to that number of
That's
units
correct.
specifically?
That's correct. This application was submitted more than 6 months ago, and the phrase I use, what Ms. Cipriani described as grossing up the affordables was hit and miss at the time. So I certainly agree with everything that you say. Yes.
Thank you.
So just to make us on the board, you're saying that the requirement is 20, but they're only offering 18. Why?
Right, so the requirement is.
16, excuse me.
Yeah, the requirement is 20%, and what they were offering is 20% of the market rate. So the market rate in the application is 82. So 10% of that would be 16.4, rounded down, would be 16 units. But there's been a development in affordable housing in this 4th round that we're currently in, and a position that Fair Share Housing has taken consistently and successfully in a number of courts is that it needs to be 20% of the total number of units. So it's the number of market rates plus the number of affordables, and then 20% of that number. So that's why I was saying, based on the application numbers, if it's 82 market rate, and in this point it's 16, but of course, every time you then are increasing the affordables, you're increasing the number. So if it's, you did that, it's 98, so now it's 20. So now you've got 20 plus 82, it's 102, and it moves up from there. So I just wanted to make sure, this is a little bit of a moving target on what that 20% represents. So I just wanted to get it on the record that the applicant was saying that they will do 20%.
Of the total number, correct?
Yes. Our intent is to comply with the affordable housing requirements in all respects.
Thank you.
So as a result, I had just talked about the PDCs. As a result of this proposed density, which is the current ordinance requires PDCs for 30% of the market units. The number of PDCs that we would require is 6.25. Also note on the affordable housing conversation that the RG2 zone is prominently included in the third round of COA. This is the 2018 settlement with Fair Share Housing and the Fair Share Plan that was adopted at that same year, where the third round runs from 2015 to 25. The township at that time utilized the fact that there's required growth in the regional growth zones of Pinelands for the past 43 years to basically, in my opinion, solve two problems with one solution, which is satisfy the requirements to the regional growth requirements of Pinelands, but at the same time satisfy affordable housing obligations under the third round. So the RG2 zone was critical in that, but as a result of this proposed variance, we will increase the amount of affordable that would otherwise be built under the conforming single family, which in my opinion, that could then be credited towards the fourth round.
But Mr. Warden, I just for the board's clarification, but this site was not included in the township's third round plan.
In the third round plan, it is.
It's in the zone with the overlay.
The entire zone was included in the third round plan.
Okay, yes, that's correct. Right, but it's not specifically this parcel.
There's a category.
It's within the overlay.
There's a category in the third round plan that says all development within the RG2 zone and applies a number of, I believe it was 286, or I don't quite remember exactly.
I should know and I don't.
But this property is included in that overall requirement.
Yeah, are you going to discuss affordable housing later on in your presentation? Or should we bring up?
Well, I am. I'm not sure in how much detail, other than the fact that our affordable housing will comply in all respects with the UHAC requirements as far as bedroom mix, completion schedule, income distribution. We're going to comply in all those respects.
Are these going to be rental units or for purchase units?
We don't know. I don't know.
And who is going to construct them?
The developer of the project.
And they'll be subject to rules about eligibility?
Yes.
For the public, and you'll have the lottery drawn?
That's correct.
And you have to comply with all of the UHAC regulations.
Yes. The township's agent will create the lottery system for the rentals or sales.
And if they're not rentals, but they're individual condos, who maintains them?
So we would iron that out before we came back with site plan, because there is a difference too in how you actually do the affordable units based on whether they're rental or for sale. There's a little bit of different requirements. So we would have to pin that down before we came back if the board were to give us this use variance. So those are good questions.
And I assume the residents will be allowed to use all the amenities of the whole area?
Yes.
And will they have a separate HOA, or would they?
You're ahead of my testimony.
Okay. That's right.
Good questions as always, Dr. Epstein.
Sorry, before you go on, I just want to, Unless, did you have a question? Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to get the math kind of straight in my head because there was a lot of back and forth. So whether it's market or affordable, I don't care for this question. So the total number of units you're requesting to be built is what?
Is less than 8 unit per acre.
Is it 98?
98, so 82
Ninety.
market, 16 affordable. Well, now 20 affordable.
Yeah, well, okay, so that's why, okay, so 98 is a locked-in number. Now, how
That's
much,
what we're-
right? So how much is gonna be market, how much is gonna be affordable, is gonna depend on that 20%. But when you say we're gonna put more affordable, you're gonna take away from the market. You're not changing the total of 98.
That's
Right.
correct, we're not changing total number.
Total doesn't change, you're flipping stuff around. Okay, thank you.
Quickly on the variance plan, just to talk about, again, we're not here for site plan, but again, we did try to provide adequate site plan details to support the variance. As I mentioned, we have a loop road around the site with 2 access drives. We propose the project would be residential site improvement standards compliant, including a residential neighborhood roadway with a 30-foot cartway width, curb and sidewalk on both sides. We will provide adequate off-street parking to meet RISA standards. We will provide the ADA and EV-ready parking spaces. We don't show them currently on the plans, but those were questions in your review letters, but we certainly would provide them as site plan. We will comply in all respects with those requirements. We do have, with the project, a 35-foot wide perimeter buffer around the side and rear of the property. As noted in the planner's letter, where a project that proposes a residential unit other than a 1 or 2 family dwelling is required to have a buffer. And we are providing a 30-foot buffer to those areas that are adjoining the either occupied or zoned RG or.
I'm sorry, can you? Sorry, we can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
You zoned
Did I?
out there.
I'm sorry.
You
Gotta keep
said,
it up
first you
here.
said 35-foot buffer, then it kind of zoned out.
The 35-foot buffer is provided where it adjoins properties that are occupied with single-family homes. Both the Swanbourne in the rear here, you can see on the plan, as Dr. Hosty noted, this is the actual layout of the Swanbourne project that was approved by this board. The project will be serviced by water and sewer. The stormwater system will comply in all respects with the Pinelands requirements. We will be required to get a certificate of filing from Pinelands before returning with the site plan should the variance be approved, or if any development of this site would require a certificate of filing. It isn't, all the improvements on this project would be private, the roadways, parking, stormwater, best management practices, landscaping, lighting, and we do propose some recreational facilities in the lawn areas. All of that would be owned and maintained by a homeowners association. I think I mentioned it will be serviced by public water and sewer. I did it.
Good share. Was there an approval from the MUA? Did they give any kind of letter?
We haven't
Water
applied
capacity?
yet. That's a site plan item. We don't attempt to get any outside agency approvals as part of the variance.
Thank you.
That would be a requirement before any site plan or as part of any site plan.
Just on that, a quick thing.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
The existing condos, obviously, it's been very quiet there, and these residents are going to have their lives disrupted by these many homes and families that move in. So we have to make sure that the change to the quality of life doesn't change that much that it makes it impossible for them to reside there. So how are you going to protect them from what's happening? And specifically, will their HOA board become part of the new HOA board? And will they be separate?
They would just all be part of the same HOA.
I'm sorry?
They would all be part of the same HOA, in my opinion.
Well, then they would have to vote as an HOA to join the new one.
I leave that to the lawyers to figure out.
I can't hear you.
I leave that to the lawyers to figure out. But
Yeah, we
that's
would
the
have to
intent.
actually look at the original HOA documents to see what they say. I have not reviewed any of the HOA documents.
Because I know in our community, we had 2 builders and 2 HOAs, and each HOA had a vote to combine. So I didn't know if this works the same.
Our intent, and you reminded me, I skipped something in my notes. Our intent is to improve the existing 28 homes to the extent that the pavement of the access drives and the drives and the parking spaces is old. So we're going to overlay and freshen up their aspect, their portions of the project as well.
Would they also have access, should the HOAs, once Ms. Jennings has a chance to review the HOA agreement, would they have, and if they combine, would they have access to all the amenities of the, if it were to be approved of this
Yes.
new development?
That's our intent, yes.
Question.
Yes.
So townhouses are not allowed in the RG2 zone, correct?
What's allowed in the RG2 zone is 4-unit multifamily units for affordable housing only.
Townhouses are not allowed in
Well, that
RG2
could be a
zones.
townhouse.
Under our ordinances, townhouses allowed in RG2 zones.
I would say they are 4-unit for affordable housing.
Are the
Okay,
non-affordable housing units
No.
permitted?
The market units are not permitted to be townhouse units.
Thank
Okay.
you.
I'm sorry.
So,
I think there was, you cut. So to be clear, so affordable housing units are allowed, multifamily, but the market rate are not allowed currently according to our ordinance.
That is correct, and we did ask for a D1 variance for the actual structure itself, the density and the use.
so knowing that, what physical characteristics of this land make sense for townhouses when we've had a governing body say we don't want townhouses?
Yeah,
in
so
this
that's his
section?
planning testimony, what he said he
Okay,
was going to do.
I was figuring you were going to say that, but I wanted to get my first question out. So-
Yeah, if I could, just one quick thing on the outside agency. And I know you don't have to get them now, but is there a list of how many outside agency approvals you're going to need for what you have planned here?
Yes.
And you have that list, okay. Is that available to us? Just curious.
I can tell you what they are if you want.
How many, well, how about you tell me how many?
I can't tell you how many off the top of my head unless I
Okay.
wrote them, but I can
You don't
tell
have
you
to.
what they are.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
Later, that's
Okay.
fine, that's fine. Okay, thank you.
I've never counted them, that's why.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Senna?
So if we, let's say, approve the 8 units per acre, would that allow more than 126 units? Because in their proposal, it doesn't hit the 8 acres.
If you calculated that by number, but I think Ms. Jennings, and correct me if I'm wrong, stated the max number of units will be 98.
And
So the approval would have 2 components under that scenario. One would be an overall allowance for the increased density, the density variance, but the resolution would also include as a condition that it be limited to 98 total units.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr. Peters.
for the purposes of making a record, I have to be a little bit of a stick in the mud here. Either Ms. Jennings or Mr. Borden, when we do the density calculations, are we including all of the property? And are we including all of the existing units?
Yes,
So please understand, how many existing units are there?
28.
So in total, while you're approving new units, the density is for the entire tract of land on whatever exhibit we're looking at, and that includes the existing 28 units. So the total number of units on the site when we're done it's going to be the new units plus the 28 existing, and that density is somewhere around 8 units an acre.
Correct.
That's correct.
We keep talking about how many units, and I want the record to be clear. There are existing units, there are proposed units. All of those are on the same tract of land. So Mr. Borden didn't say, well, the 28 units are on one part, and that's a number, and the 100 units are on a different tract, and it's the entire tract of land. So I don't think anyone was trying to pull one over on anybody. We keep talking about just units. The
No.
entire site will have a certain number of units divided by the total acreage will be somewhere around 8.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying that. So for the record, it's 98 new with the 28 existing is 126. The original approval was for 148.
Yeah, and so, and you bring back the 1970s approval, and that was for 8 per acre, right?
Actually,
8.4, right? And so basically, on the math that was just laid here, you're kind of back to that 8 per acre when you all in, right? Okay. So that's very clear. The discussion we had before about what's affordable versus market, and we said the total was 98, right? So in that calculation of what needs to be affordable, the 28 that are already there, that doesn't factor into that calculation.
That's correct, because they were existing.
They're already existing, and they are all market. I'm just curious.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I have a quick question. This was approved 50 years ago. This is more for Gene. This was approved like 50 years ago. 8.4 per acre, correct?
Yes.
This project fell by the wayside and is a dead project. When,
I'm not sure if that's a phrase I want to use. I think the approvals have expired and the zoning on the property has changed since the approvals were granted in the 70s.
Yes.
So I don't think they have any, again, Ms. Cipriano, correct me, I don't think they have any rights to the old approval.
That's
correct.
Since that project,
okay, so that's my question.
since the original approval, the zone of the property has changed.
Correct.
And we
So-
agree with that. That's correct.
Okay,
We're
so
not relying on them.
just for confusion purposes, I want it on the record that that 8.4 doesn't exist anymore. We're now RG2, and that's what it is. So, because we keep on going back to it and it gets confusing. I want to make sure everybody gets that. Thank you. I'll try not to say dead again.
Okay, I'm going to jump into the planning testimony. I know I said I'd go after, but I feel like I wouldn't say I'm on a roll. I'm never on a roll, but that would be reaching too high. We talked about the RG2 ordinance. It's RG2 ordinance allows as a conditional use under the regional growth requirements, single-family lots having a minimum area of 10,000 square feet with affordable units and multifamily buildings up to 4 units per acre with a maximum density of 3 units per acre. So what we are seeking is a D1 variance. The D1 variance because we are proposing that the market units be townhouses where townhouses are not permitted in the RG2 zone. I do believe the D3 conditional use requirements also apply because a multifamily building is permitted in the zone, although at 4 units per building. So it's a much less black and white D1 variance than say trying to do a commercial use in a residential zone. It's not a pure, in my opinion, a pure Medici case because the fact that residential is a permitted use. What we're talking about is the style of housing. So I do agree that a D1 variance is required, but I believe that D1 requirements more lean towards a D3 type of an argument than a D1, although in my testimony, I'm going to put the full proofs on for the D1 Medici variance.
So why do you think the township stated it was, that multifamily was allowed for affordable, but not for market rate units?
For cost of construction. Part of for providing affordable housing is being cost effective to allow it to be constructed.
And just to go back to the numbers again, just to be clear, so we're all on the same page. Mr. Martins brought up a great question. So and Mr. Peters piggybacked on that and said, with the proposed and the existing, it would be 126, and that's approximately 8 units per acre. But right now, the zone allows for 3 units per acre. So we're looking at approximately 52, 53 units compared to 126, correct? Just so we're on the same page, and I want to be comparing apples to apples, so I'm going to make sure we're all on the same page as we go through.
Well, I think
these
you'd have to
numbers.
take the 28 out because those were approved at the density back in the 70s, to be fair.
But the towns, I can agree to some point, but I'm going to argue the point and say we're also in a very different place now in what's around it. So we can go into that a little later, but I understand what you're saying, but we also have to consider what's around it and how that's changed. Jackson's, unfortunately or unfortunately, is not 1970 anymore.
I would say that this part of Jackson is the same.
Oh, no, Mr. Borden.
Well, if you look at the,
I'm
if
sorry.
you look at the aerial, we have,
Forgive me,
well,
yeah,
I'm gonna
forgive
get,
me.
I'll explain that in my planning testimony.
Okay.
And
Sorry.
I'm sorry, just
There's a
to,
reason I said that.
in terms of the clarification, I just want to clarify, you're seeking a D1 variance.
Yes,
And you have thoughts about a D3, but what you're seeking is a
Yes.
D1.
yes.
And the
Okay.
density,
Right.
2 Ds.
So,
All right, correct?
I didn't think we'd gotten there yet.
and the density
One
is
and
the
D5.
D5, right?
That's correct.
All right, I just wanted to, sorry, I couldn't press the button fast enough. What the heck was my question? Oh, you said that you believe the ordinance disallowed townhouses because of the appearance of a townhouse, what the townhouse looks. So, do we have any guidance on why? Oh, okay, go ahead. Maybe I misunderstood.
I believe he said cost of construction.
That,
No.
The question
I
was-
believe that the testimony was in regards to why the affordable housing component permitted townhouses, while the market rate did not. And Mr. Borden will correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that his testimony was that he thought that that was allowed because of the cost of construction being a concern for the affordable housing.
Okay, got it. And then you did say something about, but in this area, residential homes are allowed. Residential homes are allowed here, whether it's market or not market.
Single-family homes, yes.
Single-family homes. So that's allowed, but townhouses are not, which are single-family homes, right?
They're
At market.
multifamily units. They're considered multifamily units.
Okay, and that's,
Right,
that's why the
that
ordinance.
goes to sort of the issue of ownership and the housing type, not in terms of the use.
Right, okay. All right, got it. And
I
that's
like
why,
what you said there.
and that's why we passed the ordinance. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Borden, I know it seems crazy that we're actually at this point, but please continue with your testimony.
Thank you. Okay, so on the D1 variance, we're required to obviously provide, the board's heard many times, we're required to find, I'm required to provide positive criteria, a demonstration that the use, that the site is particularly suitable for the proposed use, and the special reasons, typically the advancement of the purposes of zoning are met. The purposes of zoning are outlined in the municipal land use law, of course, under D2. And in my opinion, the purposes of zoning that are met with this proposed variance request are A, to encourage municipal action to guide the appropriate use or development of all lands. C, to provide adequate light, air, and open space. G, to provide sufficient space in appropriate locations for a variety of uses. I, to promote a desirable visual environment through creative development techniques and good civic design arrangements. And K, to encourage planned developments with the best features of layout of residential, commercial, et cetera. And M, to encourage the combination of various developments to lessen the cost of such development and provide a more efficient use of the land. As I noted when I started this planning testimony, that residential use is permitted. Of course, townhouses are not permitted as a market type unit. I believe it's particularly suitable for this multifamily market units because the property does not have any environmental constraints. The property is already partially developed for a higher density with the 28 existing multifamily units. The property to the north of us is developed as multifamily development units. So there is an argument to be made for appropriate population density. In addition, the development of the townhouse units will increase the light, air, and open space because the building coverage of these townhouse buildings will be less than the building coverage of a conforming single-family development. Single-family development, for example, allows a conforming single-family development allows side yard setbacks of only 10 feet. The area of a roof for a single-family house, for the lesser number of single-family house compared to the roof area of what we're proposing, is actually higher for a single-family development.
Mr. Borden, in the RG2 zone, what is the acreage per, if these were to be, excuse me, if these were to be single-family homes, how much acreage would have to be allotted to each home?
10,000 square feet, quarter acre. And the setback requirements are 8 feet on one side and 12 feet on the other. So that's why I averaged at 10 feet. So you have 100-foot wide, and the lot's requirements are 100 feet wide by 100 feet deep. So if you have a 100-foot wide lot, you can put a house on it that's 80 feet wide. That's one lot. We have townhouse units that each unit is only 22 feet wide. Even though we have more townhouse units, when you do the math, the roof area is less for the townhouse than the single family. In addition, we have much more air and open space around the buildings because we have these large grass areas and the perimeter buffer. The perimeter buffer is not required for a single family development. Single family development, you can put your backyards right up against the perimeter of the project. As you see the Swanbourne property to our west. These lots are 100 feet square that I'm pointing to. So when you combine the buffer, the space between the buildings, and we did try to follow, there is a multifamily ordinances in town that create standards for spacing between buildings and whatnot. Although those own requirements don't apply here, as always, when we're trying to do appropriate planning, we look at those as guidance to maintain those same type of requirements as far as spacing between the buildings.
And could you touch on some of the goals of the 2025 master plan that are advanced by this project?
Certainly. I mean, the master plan provides, encourages residential development, among other things. So we believe we are advancing the master plan with this. One of the items that we're required to do with the D1 variance is to look at, going back, I believe one of the questions from over there was align the judicial review, your review, with the legislative policies. In other words, why wasn't this included in the zoning before? It's something very difficult for someone in my position to do because we're not in the room when these are written. But as I mentioned, this RG2 ordinance was written 45 years ago. Why it was not addressed in this corner, this is a very small corner. If you go back to the aerial, this southwestern corner of West Veterans and South Hope, this Pleasant Gardens and Pleasant Gardens South development was already existing at that time. So why that was not considered in the ordinance, I don't know. I cannot explain that because that was obviously before I was not working for the town. I wasn't still in school. But the fact is that these units, both on our property and the adjoining property, have been rendered non-conforming for 45 years. So I believe what we're doing is we're trying to bring it more into a conforming aspect with what has gone before. Okay, I didn't know. Thank you.
So again, just looking back at
Yes.
the 2025 master plan, there are several goals I think that this project would advance. If you could read those into the record, please.
Yes, let me be more specific. There's 5 altogether. First is to direct growth into areas suited for land development and away from areas appropriate for resource protection. As I noted in my opening, this property does not have any environmental constraints, and I'm sure the board can recognize that's a very rare thing in Jackson B, to encourage the use of planning techniques that will effectively integrate desirable residential communities.
The microphone for us,
microphone up,
please.
yes.
I'm sorry, okay, sorry. To encourage the use of planning techniques that will effectively integrate desirable residential communities, valuable commercial and service uses, resource protection, and open space areas. As I noted, this property is located adjacent to commercial uses. It's adjoining commercial zones. We have office uses in front of us. We have the corner of Veterans and South Hope is commercial. So I believe we are integrating this proposed use into the adjoining zoning. Third is to achieve a balance of housing types and housing quantity that meets the needs of current and future township residents and are compatible with fiscal sustainability. In our opinion, a townhouse type unit on this site with the previous development and all the other items I testified to would meet the needs of the demographic needs. 4, to satisfy the affordable housing requirements from the state of New Jersey. As noted, we are providing affordable housing. Much of it is for the third round. We are providing in excess of what is anticipated with the third round. Understand it's not included in the fourth round, but it is a credit the township can take. Regardless, we're providing additional affordable housing than otherwise required in the RG2 zone. E, to protect, and last, to protect the integrity of existing residential neighborhoods, ensuring that any new infill or adjacent development is compatible and or well buffered. As I noted, we have a 35-foot buffer around the property. That buffer would remain forested, and in any site planning, should a variance be approved, we would supplement that as needed with any additional plantings, but that would be detailed for site plan. The fact is, we are providing the buffer. And then I believe, lastly, looking at the negative criteria, obviously, we have to prove that we can, the granting of the variance would not substantially be a detriment to the public good, nor substantially impair the intent and purpose of the zone plan and ordinance. I believe this is also an aspect where the existing approval and the existing development comes in, or certainly the existing partial development of the site. The fact that we meet the population density of the Pleasant Gardens project to our north, as well as the density of the portion of our site that is developed. The public benefit is also served by this project being approved because a conforming subdivision would require public roads, curbs, sidewalk, all of which would have to be owned and maintained by the township, whereas under this development scheme, the roads, curb, sidewalk, and all aspects of the design would be maintained by the homeowners association. So there's less public cost to develop this.
I'm sorry, we're having a hard time hearing you. You have to remember we have this behind
Sorry.
us, but you just said a conforming subdivision what?
Would create public roads. A subdivision to conform with the ordinance requires a public right-of-way, a public road, and that road would have to be owned and maintained by the township. Where in this case, it's a private road, private improvements that would be owned and maintained by the homeowners association. And in my opinion, the increased density with the commensurate increase in affordable units can be approved without substantial detriment to the public good and no substantial impairment to the zone plan and master plan.
Comments, questions, Mr. Borden?
Comment. You said earlier that you said to protect integrity of existing neighborhood. So what do you mean by that? Outside or of the existing homes?
Yes. You go back to A1, please, Anthony.
Go back to what we?
A1. The first sheet. To our north, we have existing multifamily development. So our development is consistent with that development that's existed for 45 years.
Do you know how many units per acre in that development?
I do not.
You don't know?
I do not know.
Mr. Borden,
units per acre?
I would assume it is because that was approved and built, and then this was approved and partially built, and it's the same housing product. So, and this is 8.4, so I would assume that that is around, if not above 8.
Are we able to get that information?
I can.
Mr. Walder?
Thank you, Madam Chair. As the applicant is asking for a bifurcated use variance, we don't get into a lot of engineering this evening. I do just want to clarify.
I'm sorry, Mr. Wilder, people can't hear you.
I do just want to clarify certain statements which have been made thus far. So we talked about the original approval of 8.4 units per acre, but that was for a fully age-restricted development. And then the applicant came back before the board saying, I can't sell any units, and the board vacated or removed that restriction. So at the time of the initial approval, there was an age restriction on the development. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Great, thank you. You spoke about the building coverage being less with this layout than a conforming subdivision application?
Yes,
How many units would be accommodated if it was a conforming subdivision?
52.
So your testimony is that with 126 multifamily units, you're going to have less building coverage than 52 single-family homes?
Yes.
Okay. What about impervious coverage? Would a conforming residential subdivision have less or more impervious coverage than what you're proposing this evening? If you had a guess.
I would guess it's more for the single family, given the roof coverage.
How wide do you expect the roadway network to be for the development? Would it be compliant with RSIS and a 30-foot wide cartway?
Yes, yes.
So, okay. I'm struggling to reconcile how we'll have more than double the amount of units with associated parking, and our building coverage and our lot coverage would be lower for this layout.
You have to remember, Matthew, my analysis of a single-family lot, let me repeat it, the required lot is 100 feet wide. The setbacks are only 10 feet wide.
Sure,
I can do an 80-foot wide house.
but there's a building coverage requirement for
There's
this.
no building coverage requirement.
So the intent would, your testimony would be on a 10,000 square foot lot, someone might build what size home?
Well, I am doing projects right now where we've done plot plans where we have 5,000 square foot houses, 6,000 square foot houses on a 10,000 square foot lot
In Jackson?
in Jackson. I could drive you there and show them to you.
The parking analysis that was provided on your variance plan, does that include the existing units or the existing parking?
No, we did not. We
Okay.
did not. And that's why I testified, and that was also a question in the planner's review, that we're simply going to comply with the parking requirements.
Okay. And then you'll comply with the EV parking?
Yes.
We spoke a little bit about affordable housing. Is the intent that the affordable housing will be interspersed within the development with multiple units in each building? I realize it's not a requirement of the affordable housing, but it is a recommendation.
If it is required, we'll comply. That again, like we discussed about the grossing up of the number, that's a new standard that's just come about with the fourth round. So we'll be guided by whatever the regulations require.
I believe in the third round, it was a recommendation, not a requirement. I don't know if in the fourth round they changed that. I do believe it is beneficial when you have affordable housing units that they are interspersed throughout the development versus having an affordable building. I think that would be a good proposal to do something in that fashion. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Just for the record, I Google Earth Pleasant Drive, 4 units. That's it.
Catch me up there, Ray. We're Pleasant
The-
Drive.
The question that was just asked about the project that's next to it, it's only
Yes.
4 units as per the code.
Yeah, four units per building.
Yeah, not 8.
No, I understand.
Well, that was
That's the
her
same as
question.
our
I'm just clarifying her question and her
Okay.
point, that's all.
No, that was a question of density, not units per building.
Well, that's what, so the largest around is just 4.
I understand. No, we're not questioning that. That's what we have on our site. But the question was density.
Are the houses to the
Yeah.
north of it townhouses? Are the houses north of it? Because you said your project is similar to the
Yes.
project. So are those houses townhouses?
They are attached 4-unit buildings.
But they're not townhomes.
Well,
Let me
Do they look like
rephrase,
what
let me
you're
rephrase my
proposing?
statement. They're not a 3-story townhome.
they're a single-story building, but I don't know, there are I just prefer to stick with simple terms, multifamily building. That's what the ordinance allows for affordable multifamily. That's what we're proposing.
Mr. Peters.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Borden, thank you for your testimony. You had talked about the 2025 master plan in trying to reconcile your proposal. Is there any place in that document that talks about 8 units an acre?
Not to my knowledge.
How would this then not be tantamount to rezoning?
I believe to be considered rezoning, it would have to be a certain percentage of the total zone. And we're a very small percentage of the RG2 zone.
But you're asking for from 3 to 8 units would be what, a 267% increase in the density?
I understand, of this 17-acre lot.
Okay, well, you already have 28 units, so if you're allowed 3 units an acre and you have 17.6 acres, you could get 53 units. There's 28 existing. So at 3 units an acre, you could build 25 more units, correct?
Sure.
Okay, and you're proposing 98? Thank you, that's all I have.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Tumalo.
It's okay. I knew I would find it eventually. Just to circle back to what Matt Weiler was saying about the disbursement of the affordable housing units. 244-224, the affordable housing requirements in both for sale and rental regulations. Both sections stipulate restricted units may not be physically clustered so as to segregate restricted and market rate units within the same development or within the same building, but must be interspersed throughout the development. Yada, yada. It goes on from there, but you get the point.
And you would comply with those?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not quite, I've done quite a number of these 4th round already, so we're going to comply with the 4th round rules. And it depends really if you're for sale or rental, exactly how it all works.
So there is nothing preventing a developer from producing a fully compliant project in this space.
Well, we think there is. That's why the property has sat there for 40 years undeveloped, because you don't have enough density to make it worth someone's while to pay the taxes off. So you have this huge tax on the property, $3.5 million that no one's paying. And we believe that the property has sat fallow all this time because there's just not enough density for an investor to come in and say, okay, I'll buy the property, I'll pay off the taxes, and I'll build here.
But
That's
you're-
what we're doing.
But you're doing it.
Doubling
Fairness,
the.
though.
Only, yeah, but only if we get the density, we're going to do it, right?
In fairness, let's just be clear and fair here. In fairness, where we're saying we've thrown out that number 3.5 million several times. It's been how many years since taxes were paid? This is, so what I'm trying to say is if this was just taxed for 1 year or 2 years, we wouldn't be talking about $3.5 million. And I understand from a business perspective that that's a huge sum of money, but we're not talking, we need to keep that in mind. This is not a today. This is years of non-payment.
Right, but it has to be paid in order for somebody to do anything with the property. Otherwise, it's just going to sit there.
But Mr. Selecki makes an excellent point. You could do a fully conforming project on this property.
But Ms.
zoning-
Jennings, is that not a self-created hardship?
I don't believe it's a self-created hardship at all. It is a reality of what the property is stuck with from the property owner. You're right. And if the town doesn't want it to be developed, and they don't want to get their taxes, we don't have to change the zoning. That's pretty much the reality.
Okay, but excuse me if you don't mind.
Almost tripling
Let me,
the-
hold on a minute. Let's turn this. let's remove townhouses out of our discussion and go back to Mr. Borden. How many houses did you tell me you could build if they were single family?
So the total property would be 52, maximum density.
So I would have to think any builder would still be making a good amount of money, and that would be a conforming application.
But
I mean,
again,
am I
it
wrong?
begs
No, I
the
think
question, no one has bothered to build it under the current zoning.
So why don't they just give it back to the town and waive the taxes? Instead of making a
That's,
project.
we're not the property owner.
But that's what I'm saying. So which you do understand. I get that. But in my eyes, if this is such a nightmare and this guy can't afford to give the tax, pay the taxes, so he's trying to sell it to somebody else who could absorb it and try and manipulate a project that's going to fit, in my eyes, you're already a loser. Get rid of it. Give it to the town. Don't force us to.
We don't own the property. We are the contract purchaser seeking to get the
Yeah, no, you're
increased density.
speculating.
So we're, right.
Yeah, you're speculating. I get that. I'm just saying, because this is what you're going to get from the other side of the room when they stand up. I'm just trying to circumvent that a little bit.
Just,
Mr. Martins?
yeah. Okay, two things. Before hearing from the public, I think I'm almost there as far as my decision. But I would like to hear from the
So
public.
I'm sure, Mr. Martins, that you'll hear all of the testimony before coming to.
Oh,
any
you got more?
conclusions.
You didn't make up your mind already. You didn't hear everything.
No, I thought you were done. Sorry, my apologies. Because I was
There
going to
we have a
say,
Traffic
There are other
engineer and
witnesses.
a
okay.
architect.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I was going to ask
Keep your
about.
mind open.
Yeah. Okay, my mind is open because I was going to ask about this, the look of it. So somebody's going to speak to the.
Yes, Ms. Rubb is here. She's going to talk all about the
Okay,
architecture.
I thought you were done. My apologies. Okay.
Have no questions then?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr.
I had a
Antonelli.
couple questions.
Yes, please.
So, Mr. Borden testified to the, Mr. Stevens plan for the variance plan in general terms?
Yes.
And then, so the sheet that we reviewed, the single sheet, was a little scant on dimension. So it's kind of hard to do like for RSIS, you try and keep the parking out of the 18-foot to make it on-site parking. So all the things that, even at the variance level, I don't think it would take much more to dimension some more of the key areas to see that even the right-of-way that's sketched out in the dashed lines, if that, it's hard to determine if that works in the context of RSIS, residential site improvement standards, widths, even though it's going to be a private roadway as offered. But I believe your testimony was that it would be RSIS compliant.
Yes.
So it was difficult to make those determinations based on the information provided in the context of the use variance. So I just, so I guess, go ahead.
We had made a submittal about 10 days ago of a updated variance plan that showed the survey. We had provided a survey, and on that plan, we did add more dimensions, including the cartway width. So it do show in that plan the 30-foot cartway width and the dimensions of the parking spaces, for example.
Is that what you showed?
No, I'm looking at my figure, realizing that I picked the wrong one out of my file. So
So there's a plan.
there's an
that-
updated plan that was submitted to the board that has all the dimensions on.
Okay, so, and that's not available for tonight, though? I mean,
No, but if we were to get the use variance, we would have it come back for a site plan and we
No, I
would have to be
understand that.
RSIS compliant.
No, I understand that. You had said that before. I'm just asking that. The details provided made it difficult to agree or disagree whether it could be RSIS compliant. That's all. That's all I have.
Understood.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Wilder.
You submitted a revised variance plan within the last, 2 weeks or so?
Yes.
Does anybody have that? Because it's also not posted on the township's website, so I know typically we upload those documents. My office did not receive an updated plan.
Well, you had replied to the email saying you didn't need a hard copy, honestly, Matthew. So I had emailed it to Dawn.
Those plans and didn't have an updated variance plan unless maybe the wrong one was attached. I'm not sure.
Sumalo?
Just looking through my email.
It's dated August, what's it, August
Layout just with additional dimensions.
I'm sorry, it's dated what day?
August 8th.
That's a Saturday. I have an email from
Or
you,
August
Friday,
6th.
August 7th.
Okay, I don't have. my
Dawn,
plan.
please see the attached plans and report being delivered to you as well as the digital files for each. That's the one, Ian?
That's it.
We
I'm
do not have the exhibits completed yet, and we'll have them done early next week. This file share, that's the one I need to look at? This was emailed out to the ZB group on Friday, 8/7 at 12:59 PM. And it was followed up on Monday, 8/10 by Dawn saying, I just noticed that the link Ian has sent did not have the 2-page variance plan revision dated 5/12/26. And then that was revised and resent Tuesday, 8/18 at 8:44 AM. Please see the link below. I will also put these on the Township website.
Yesterday, correct.
The corrected link was sent from Ian at 6:38 AM yesterday, Tuesday, August 18th.
So what's the so when was the updated sent to everybody?
Yesterday.
Yesterday. You agree with that?
No, I don't, because the hard copies were delivered that same day. We're talking about.
To
the
who?
email.
Okay,
To Dawn. Hard copies were given to Dawn on the 7th.
on the 7th.
We're talking about the email. That's what Gina's talking about. But the hard copies were given to Dawn at the same day on the 7th.
Okay. We are in 2026 and hard copies.
I understand. Understanding, the plan is no different. We just added some dimensions. That's all. Nothing changed on the plan. It just,
Yeah.
more information.
I guess it's just my opinion, but it always seems we have version control problems. It just seems to be a constant issue.
Mr. Borden, you went through the positive criteria. However, when it came to the negative criteria, I really don't see how you eliminated the negative criteria. You mentioned a few things. Some of them were financial, and financial is shaky ground when you come to a zoning board. We want to know about the land use. And as of now, I don't see what the hardship is that you have. I mean, the property still could be developed if maybe this applicant feels he's not making enough money. Maybe a future applicant will come in and decide there's a huge need for housing in Jackson right now, and they may find that he could build a 52 or 53 units and come away with a good profit. So I just don't see what the
Understand.
hardship is.
Well, to speak quickly on that then, the first negative criteria, the detriment to the public good, you're going to hear testimony from our traffic engineer that the traffic works sufficiently. So that's not a public detriment.
I'm sorry, we're going to hear what?
That's not a substantial, traffic will not be a substantial detriment. Talking about the public good, the first negative criteria. And also.
I'll wait for that testimony.
That's to come, that's correct. Also, I testified that the public benefit is served by the grant of this variance because of the fact that all of the improvements will be privately owned. A conforming project would require substantial public improvements.
And Dr. Hoffstein, your issue with the hardship, we really indicated the property is particularly suited for the proposed use here. And we talked about how it advances its purposes of municipal land use law. Hardship is just a different, 3 ways to get a positive criteria. Hardship is one, inherently beneficial, or you indicate that the property is particularly suitable and advances purposes of municipal land use law, it advances purposes of the master plan. And we went through all the purposes of MLUL that we thought were advanced. We went through 5 criteria of the master plan that we thought were advanced. So that's the positive criteria. And then you talk about the negative criteria, you talk about the substantial detriment to the zone plan and zoning ordinance, which Ian also talked about. The hardship is just that the financial hardship, the taxes, is just something in there that indicates perhaps why the property hasn't been developed. We're not relying on that. We have all the other proofs in the record.
I'm struggling with the positive criteria when you say it improves the master plan. The master plan is only from last year, so I'm struggling, and I understand you explained very eloquently before that we don't know why it wasn't changed, we don't know why there was no amendment, but nonetheless, it wasn't. So if this is so new, why wouldn't this have been addressed?
I can't answer that, obviously, but I certainly did not testify that we're improving the master plan. But I do believe we meet the purposes of zoning through the light, air, and open space and appropriate population density and the other items I testified to. I cannot speak to the judicial, to balance the judicial and legislative, you being the judicial, the council being the legislative, because I can't read the mind of the township legislature in 1983 when the original master plan under the Pinelands was certified. But what is factual is the fact that is unrefuted fact is that the Pleasant Gardens properties, through the grant adoption of that master plan, have been non-conforming for the last 45 years. That is an irrefutable fact.
So I've heard your testimony. You say that the master plan encourages home development, 100% it does, but it does not encourage high-density development. It's encouraging regular development in this zone, like it is zoned, and it made the exception for the low affordable housing to have that higher density to fulfill that need. So it's not particularly, in my opinion, particularly suitable, this location, to have high density development. It's much more appropriate to have single home units.
On the issue of density, I do want to put on the record that the master plan does have higher density because for example, they identified inclusionary sites, of which this is not one, but they identified inclusionary sites throughout the town with mixed-use townhouse development at densities up to 8 units per acre.
But doesn't that justify why this shouldn't be developed as a high density?
Correct. They said this is specifically, it's for single homes, and you have that ability to do the higher density together with it. Not that the entire tract should become a high density development.
In my opinion, this was not included as an inclusionary development because there was nobody here to advocate for it. The other sites that are included were being advocated for by property owners. I've represented many of them.
Are you stating, Mr. Borden, that there is no property owner?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that we didn't have an active landowner that was seeking to redevelop the property at that time. My client came to see me on this property after the master plan work was already completed.
I think you understand that the board has a lot of questions about whether this deviation in the density is reconcilable with this zone.
I understand. I just wanted to address the fact that the statement was made, the master plan doesn't encourage higher density development, and in fact it does.
Just not
Not
on
on this property.
Just not on this
I
property.
understand, but
Yeah, I guess
Go
I'll
ahead,
just,
Mr. Martins,
oh,
go ahead.
sorry.
Mr. Hyman, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Martins.
Oh, I was just going to reiterate what James said. The fact that it allows it on other areas, right, could mean, and to me it does mean, okay, we already allow it on other areas, we don't want it here. And I understand your perspective, but we're all we're just making assumptions. We don't know, right?
that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Peters, Mr. Wilder, any comments for us on site suitability? Okay.
Hoping the traffic engineer is next.
Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Borden?
Want to open it to the
Anything,
public?
anything else for us, Mr. Borden, before I open it to the public? So we're going to go ahead and open it to the public at this time. You can question anything that Mr. Borden has testified to or any testifying you've heard so far this evening. Anyone wishing to come, anyone, no traffic at this point. Anyone wishing to come forward, please do so at this time.
Right, and just to be clear, so this is for questioning of Mr. Borden, not general comment. All right, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you'll give this before this board will be the truth and nothing but the truth? And could you state your name for the record with the microphone on?
I do.
Thank you. And if you put your name on the
Adam
record.
Heidi. I'm on the Environmental Commission, but I'm just here as a resident. Did you have a question? Oh, I'm sorry. Adam Heidi. Did you apply to the Pinelands Commission?
No, not required to as part of a variance application.
Did you have testimony about a certificate of filing?
No.
No, excuse me,
No.
Mr. Heidi, if you don't mind me interrupting, you came in a little late. The application was bifurcated. So they made us put it on the record that they haven't applied to any of those agencies because they don't want to do that if they're not approved. Just to make sure everybody's clear.
Okay. Do you know how long an LOI is good for? I know there's no, you testified that there's no wetlands on the property, correct?
That's correct.
Correct, okay. But if there was, you would need an LOI, that's correct?
No, not in the Pinelands.
The Pinelands would take care of the LOI, is maybe what
correct.
you're inferring to?
It's reviewed as part of the certificate of filing review, that's correct.
Okay. And do you know how long those LOIs are good for?
Well, the certificate of filing, recently they adopted regulations that I believe the certificate of filing as of earlier this year is good for 5 years.
Okay, and why is it 5 years?
You'd have to ask Pinelands.
Okay. Would you say maybe it's to ensure the development is taking place somewhere that actually reflects the natural conditions?
No.
No. Would you say this property, what year was this application approved?
1971 initially approved.
Okay. Would you say that the environmental conditions in 1971 correspond to the environmental conditions present day, 2026?
I would say yes.
How would you say yes?
Well, because what we're dealing with here is a forested upland property, and that has not changed in the last 54 years.
In what aspects?
I'm sorry?
In name one or two aspects. What hasn't changed?
Well, just the,
You're being vague.
well, I don't believe I'm being vague. I'm certainly not trying to be vague, but the natural condition of a property is dictated by processes that were formed over hundreds of thousands of years. We could talk about the geology and the coastal plain, but the fact is that the soils and the vegetation have not changed in the past 50 or even 100 years.
So I know I didn't swear my credentials, but as a biologist, that's just not true. However, I'll move on. What kind of commercial businesses currently exist near the property? I think you testified about a Wawa.
That's correct.
What else aside from Wawa? Was there another one? Did you touch upon the liquor store plaza?
I don't believe I mentioned that, but there is
Okay.
one.
So you're speaking heavily on commercial development in 2026. Would you be, are you aware of any of the commercial development in 1971, back when this was approved? What were the surrounding commercial businesses like in 1971 when this was originally approved?
Well, I can only speak to that anecdotally, what I believe. I was 11 years old in 1971.
Well, you're saying
But,
that it hasn't changed over 50 years.
I'm saying, no.
Was Wawa there in 1971?
No, you're conflating your questions. The question was, did the existing environmental status of the property, in other words, the fact that it's a forested upland, did that change over the last 50 years? And I said, no. I did not testify.
And the surrounding property, though?
I did not testify as to how the land use has changed over the last 50 years, but certainly we have the Wawa and Jackson Crossing that were built in the early 2000s, I believe. We have the liquor store, and then we have, in front of our site, there's a couple of contractor offices. Those buildings seem quite old.
Right.
The McAuliffe School was built, I believe, in the 90s, so.
What about 1971? Would you be able to testify about 20 years earlier for the businesses you just mentioned?
I am not, no.
Okay, well, you keep speaking on how this application is less dense than the one that's originally proposed. It just doesn't seem like that. You said there's 28 existing homes on there?
That's correct.
Okay. Were they there in 1971, those 28 homes?
They were built as part of the 71 approval.
Okay, and you're asking for, and what was the total number of homes approved in 1971?
148.
Okay, so in 1971, there were 148 homes approved, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And including the 28 existing homes, you want to add 98 homes in 2026 for a total of 126. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So less than a 15% difference in the intensity of home development you are seeking on the same exact parcel 50 years later. Is that correct?
I believe I understand the question, yes.
Okay. I think Remington and Vernick said you're seeking 2 or 3 or 4 variances. It's how many homes per acre are allowed currently, sir?
Currently in the zone, it's 3 units per acre.
Okay. And you're seeking how many?
8.
So you're seeking 2.5 times the current zone density. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then just to touch upon the affordable housing, you're seeking 8 affordable housing homes per acre where the zone permits 4?
No, we're
Can you explain
seeking.
that? I'm sorry.
No, we're complying with the 20% requirement, which our application includes 16, but we've been corrected tonight that the number should be approximately 20.
Can I ask Anthony to pull up the site, Ernie's site plan and just go to the variance section, just to make sure that we're talking about the.
Yes, if that's connected to a question for Mr. Borden.
Absolutely. Yeah. Anthony, could you please bring up the Remington and Vernick site plan and go to section?
I don't think there is a Remington and Vernick site plan.
On your website, on our website, it's like RV. Yeah.
Oh,
My apologies. What section is it? It's in section 5, variance and waivers, letter C.
That's why we put it out on the webpage, so everybody has access to it. Yeah.
So are you guys solicitors technically? You don't own the property, you're just. It's not even.
Oh,
on the
they
record.
contract purchaser? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, this is off the record.
yeah, okay, there is no off the record right here. There's no off the
So
record.
you don't own the property. Are you being paid by the property owner?
No, we're seeking to purchase the property from the property owner.
So you're just hungry.
Mr. Haiti,
Could you ask Mr.
Mr.
Borden
Haiti.
questions and stop the commentary?
I'm just waiting for the document to be pulled up.
then please just wait. Mr. Haiti,
What was the question
he's saying
regarding
he doesn't have
section
it.
5? He doesn't have
I
it to put
asked
up.
about how many affordable homes they're seeking. I said, I believe it's 8 where the ordinance or the state law is 4. It's located in section 5 of that document I'm waiting for. Ian Borden
Right, yeah.
gave contrast and testimony to my question. So,
No, I understand. I think that Anthony is saying that he does not have that available. If it's helpful to
It's on the
you.
website. Can one of you guys go on our own website?
We have we have it, so,
Do you want a copy of it?
Mr. Peters? No, hold on, Mr. Heidi, Mr. Peters?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Let me see if I can get Mr. Heidi's question answered. Mr. Borden, you have a copy of our letter dated July 1st, 2026?
I do.
Could you go to page 5,
Already there.
under Roman numeral 5, variances and
Yes.
waivers? Comment C from our report indicates that the applicant requests C variance relief, commonly referred to as bulk variance relief, to permit 8 affordable housing units per building, whereas a maximum of 4 affordable housing units per building is permitted. Adam, is that the section you're looking for?
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Okay, so Mr. Borden found the comment you're looking for.
So they're seeking 8 in lieu of 4. Is that correct?
Yes, this is when I made reference in my testimony to the D3 variance, that this is what I was referring to. Because the conditional use requirements of the current zone allows affordable housing to be in a multifamily building with not more than 4 units per building. And we're proposing to have 8 units per building for both the affordable housing and the market. So for the market, we've already discussed that's a D1 variance because the multifamilies are not permitted for market. However, for the affordable housing, we are permitted a multifamily maximum 4. We're proposing maximum 8. I agree with the statement except for the fact that it's not a C variance, it's a D3 variance.
That's even worse.
So, and that was included in my testimony.
That's even worse.
It's not worse, it's better.
Okay. I think you testified this property is going to be serviced by public sewer and water. Is that true?
That's correct.
And how, you've confirmed that with our municipal utility authority?
No, I've not.
I'm sorry, Mr. Hady, I'm going to ask you the question what I usually ask Mr. Borden. Could you hold the microphone a little closer to your mouth?
Sorry.
Thank you.
Have you made any contact with the MUA since you testified that
I have not.
they haven't? So you're not sure if our current sewer infrastructure can tolerate this kind of intensity?
I am certain that the infrastructure will tolerate the density.
With what background?
Well, let me answer the question from the beginning.
Sure.
The property is located within the central sewer service area, as is all the regional growth. So that means that a WQMP amendment is not required to provide sewer. The proposal to provide sewer service to this project would be connecting into the back of the Swanbourne project. There is a regional pump station proposed as part of the Swanbourne project that this would be contributory towards. So that's how sewer would be provided. And as far as water is concerned, there's an existing 12-inch water main within South Hope Chapel Road that will be looped through the project.
Okay, so.
Mr.
Which
Heidi,
is
let me,
actually another benefit that I just realized, thank you, Mr. Heidi, to the zoning, in the fact that what we're doing is we're providing public water and sewer to these 28 existing homes that are currently on well and septic. So that is a positive purpose of zoning that I forgot, and I appreciate the opportunity to add that to the record.
Mr. Heidi, just to be clear though, just to take you back again, I said you came in a little late, so you missed it. They haven't applied for any MUA, any of them. They haven't had that discussions because remember, they're not the owner right
Understood.
now.
Understood.
So I'm going to give you a little more leeway, another minute or two, and then we have to move on to someone else.
Understood. So you're confident that our water infrastructure can handle this project?
I am.
You said the existing 28. Are you confident it can handle an additional 98
I am.
homes?
I am.
Interesting. Okay. And you keep testifying how there's no environmental constraints, there's no water around the property. That's correct?
There's no wetlands or wetland buffer or flood hazard area or flood hazard riparian buffer.
Do you know what body of water is directly beneath the pinelands?
The aquifer?
Yeah, what aquifer is that?
It's the Cohansey Aquifer.
Correct. And that's specifically directly beneath the pinelands, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. So wouldn't 2.5 times the intensity of development affect the recharge of our aquifer?
No, it wouldn't affect. In fact,
That's just,
it would improve it. And let me explain how.
I will digress. That is scientifically inaccurate.
Okay, well,
If
you have.
if you
And
You
let
let
him
him answer the question, he asked a question, let him answer it, please.
Currently, we have 28 units that are on private well that are withdrawing water from the Cohansey Aquifer. Should this development be approved, the entire development, including the 28 units, would be on public water system, which water supply from the Jackson MUA is from the Raritan Aquifer. The Raritan Aquifer is approximately 1,500 feet deep and is a confined aquifer, whereas the Cohansey Aquifer is shallow, less than 100 feet, and is unconfined. And as noted by Mr. Heidi, the protection of the Cohansey Aquifer is a primary reason why the Pinelands Commission exists. Combined with that is the fact that the new stormwater rules require extensive recharge of increased stormwater runoff. So, which none of those stormwater requirements were in effect in the 70s when the 28 homes were built. So the project not only would eliminate a withdrawal from the Cohansey Aquifer, it would increase the recharge to the Cohansey Aquifer through the new stormwater systems.
So
Mr. Heidi, we're
you're-
going to have to move on to give someone else a chance.
Are you?
He'll be coming-
One or two more questions. You're seeking a few variances, you're seeking a few waivers in hopes the zoning board will grant a waiver, right? But are you asking them to defy our master plan? Are townhomes permitted in the master plan that was written last year?
In this zone, no.
They're not permitted per our master plan.
Not
So how would that be a positive impact if this application is granted? Wouldn't that defy what was written last year by our planning board? Isn't that not correct? It'd be in direct contrast. Is that not correct?
No, I gave my purposes and positive reasons. in my
Irrespective
testimony.
of your testimony, would permitting something that is not permitted by our master plan equate to defying our master plan?
No.
Despite your answer, that is not accurate.
No,
That's my
you're
case.
wrong.
Thank
That's why there's a zoning board to
I'm not
grant
lying.
use variance.
I'm not lying.
I said you're wrong. I didn't say you're lying. I
Speaking
said
to
you
me.
were
We are
wrong.
we are not going to get into an argument here. We're going to have decorum. We're going to let him finish speaking. Mr. Heidi, we've given you plenty of time. We have to move on to see if someone else would like to come
She's gonna
forward.
call me a liar, I have the right to.
No, we're
respond.
not. We're not going to do this right now. If anyone else would like to come forward, please do so at this time.
Can I just ask a question
Yeah.
before? So you're going to have another expert come on, right? And the public will have another chance,
Correct.
even before the general comments that come at the end. They'll have
Correct.
another chance to ask that expert. And so, and whether it's
These
two or
are
three,
questions
right?
based on the testimony.
Based on the testimony.
On that
only
one
the
person,
testimony-
right?
only Mr.
I just
Gordon's
want to make
testimony,
it clear,
correct.
because I was confused. That's why before I mentioned that I was almost there, because I thought you were finished.
Oh,
But no, there's a lot more, and we'll have a chance to question
There's a
those
lot more
people
for the board to
every
consider.
single time, not just at the end. Okay, thank you.
Hello, Deb Jones.
I'm sorry, Ms. Jones, if you don't mind, I'm going to swear you in just because I don't want to interrupt you midstream.
Not a problem at all.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give before this board will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And you've already given your name for the record.
Yes. I have a question. Ian, you keep pointing to the little indent and saying those are businesses. What addresses are you pointing to?
I just know that Neil Brooks Plumbing is in here somewhere.
Okay, that's down the road. So the
Okay.
addresses that you're pointing to
Oh, yes?
are,
I,
it's okay. It's 56 South Hope Chapel, 64 and 74 on that corner. They are all homes. They
Here.
are not businesses.
oh, okay. Oh, then I don't, okay.
So you keep referring to them as businesses as if that's
Well, if I
somehow going to
misspoke,
blend
I
into your
apologize.
development. So I'm just correcting you since
No,
you,
I apologize for that. I know that there's a plumbing office in here. I thought it was here.
and those houses are probably that, the Driftwood Drive Road, and you were saying that the one behind it was single-family homes. There, that's a retirement village. And right behind you on Driftwood Drive are all just one or two-bedroom condos. They're not townhouses. Just wanted to clarify that
Understand.
since I lived there.
Anyone else wish to come forward and make any comments regarding Mr. Borden's testimony?
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you'll give before this board will be the truth or nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And please state your name for the record.
Holly Reynolds. I'm on the Environmental Commission, but only speaking as a resident.
I'm sorry, could you hold that microphone much
Sorry.
closer to your
I'm
mouth?
sorry. I've heard that 1,000 times too. I just want clarification with the whole density question and the variances, because single family, multi-residential keep getting thrown around. And I just want to make sure that we're clarifying with each variance that they're going for. So the permitted use, the townhouses are not permitted use. And then the density for three units per acre. So if they get both, then they can do the 198. If you allow the townhouse, but they have to do, they follow the 3 acres per unit, then they would only be allowed the 52, correct?
Okay, I'm gonna stop. So first of all, this section is really primarily for asking questions of Mr. Borden.
Well,
if
that's my
what it
question,
is,
is to clarify
Okay.
that. I'm not making a statement, I'm
understand.
asking.
Yeah, no,
I
okay.
understand, I appreciate that. The
Yeah.
current density maximum is 3 units per acre. We're requesting 8.
Right, but if you follow the variances, then only how many single-family homes would you be able to put there? If you follow that, you're not allowed to have townhouses, and
That's
it's
correct.
3 units per acre.
That would be 52, would be the maximum units under the density, the permitted density.
But that's townhouses, not
That would be
single-family.
single
No, that
family.
would be single. I'm sorry.
That would be
Single-family,
single-family.
3 units per acre on 17 acres?
Yes,
Because of the zone, because of the RG2 zone, but that includes the units that are already existing.
That exists, that would include the 52 number.
right.
Includes, if I may, the 52 number includes the 28 existing homes that are there now, which are the 4 units that are in one building.
Okay.
Or, yes.
So basically,
Yeah.
they could build they could build an additional 24.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Or redevelop the entire thing with 52.
Anyone else wishing to come forward? We're going to go ahead and close public session at this time, and before Ms. Jennings calls her next professional, we are going to take a 10-minute break.
If I may, Madam Chair, the attorney for the applicant just approached and indicated that in light of the comments of the board and the public, that they asked for this matter to be carried so that they can address some of those issues and concerns that have been raised. I don't know what the available dates are and what kind of time frame you're looking at. Ms. Jennings?
Well, if we talk about some of the comments, and we might have to make some modifications to the plan, that's really kind of an and thing. I don't know how much time you would need. Yeah, he needs at least a month, and then, of course, we've got to submit, and you have to review, so.
Good. Mr. Malo?
Sure. My notes say, Carrie, please use September 2. That seems too soon, or October 7th.
Is October 7th within the time frame, or are you looking for a meeting date after that date?
After that, please.
Probably not October 21st. November 4th? You have a big one, Donna, already
I'm
here?
here anyway. I don't know.
Or November 18th is empty. I will not
November
be
18th?
I will not be here on the 18th.
Is that the league?
Yep.
I will not be here either.
I mean, you
Moving
can
on.
put us
I mean,
maybe on
it-
November 4th, but I don't think,
I don't know that
we
we're
have
gonna
enough
get
to
to it on
get
the
to
4th.
it.
I don't know what else is on.
December 2nd.
December 2nd?
Second?
That works for me. Guys, are you around? All right, December 2nd.
All right.
All right, so to December 2nd, no additional notice will be required, and you waive the statutory timeframes?
Yes, we do.
So they will return on December the 2nd. No additional notice will be sent out for those homeowners who were notified. You will not get another notice, but we will reconvene this matter on December the 2nd.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Motion, I'm
Okay.
sorry. Yes, before we close, though, I would, because there were people who were so kind to sit, I would like to open it for general public comment. Again, you heard Mr. Borden's testimony, so I'm not sure if you want to wait or if there was anything else you wanted to say this evening.
There was something I would like to say, if I may, to put it on the record. I just want, as a sense of goodwill, I appreciate you taking all of our comments into consideration and doing your revision. I know it's painful for some of the audience because they're here and now they're gonna have to come back, but I think in this situation it's very appropriate, and I appreciate you guys doing that.
Thank you. Motion to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
So you made it and seconded it?
Oh, no.
Okay, I'll second it.
No, somebody said second.
Okay.
I'm like, wait, what?